I told y'all. Told y'all in the last video, man. Don't give up on Haliburton so quickly. And I get it. Like it wasn't fun, but tonight looked like I kind of think we're back. And I know that's kind of crazy to say because Tyrese Haliburton went bonkers against the Knicks and then got into a slump again. But here's the thing, man. Okay? Before we get into the Haliburton stuff, because that was crazy enough, how about Moses Brown scoring our first 8 points all like back to back to back to back? You know what I'm saying? Moses Brown looked very good tonight. 15 points, 4 rebounds, and a block. I will take it for a guy who's only been on the roster for less than a week. Moses Brown was very good. Siakam was very good. Haliburton had 14 points in the third. Mathurin closed out the game with a Sports Center top 10 windmill dunk with a guy on him. It was great. I was gonna call it what it is, man. This was a great win, and I was a little worried about this game a little bit, but I actually had a parlay for Tyrese Haliburton to score 30 points, and it was like multiple guys. It was like Harden, Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, and Haliburton, all to score 30 plus. And once I saw that 14-point third quarter, that cash out got up to like $40 or $50 on a $25 bet, and I was gonna cash it out, but I was like, nah, let me stop, man. Let Hallie do his thing. And then, of course, Rick puts him on the bench, and then he comes out in the fourth quarter, and he started deferring to other people. And that's one thing I hate about Tyrese Haliburton. It's like, time and time again, this dude gets open layups, and instead of making the open layup, what he'll do is pass it out to a teammate. And I understand why he does it, and it's great if you're one of his teammates, but the problem is that becomes predictable after a while. It's something I do when I play basketball, believe it or not, because I enjoy passing the ball just like Haliburton does. But it's just the idea, at a certain point when they realize you're not going to shoot layups, that starts to become predictable. And that's something that worries me, is like in the playoffs could become a problem. It's like, especially against teams like Boston and Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee looks like they're starting to turn it around. When you play those teams, right, like it'll get to a point where they know you're not going to shoot, so they'll just back up and play defense on their guys and make it so you have to take them, which really isn't the end of the world because you're getting a wide open layup. But the problem is Haliburton always looking to defer in those moments bothers me, when he should just be attacking. Like, if you're going to put up 30 and 10, great, you don't have to stop at 21 points. This dude loves to score like 21 points and goes, all right, that's enough. No, like, if you're going to cook, dog, cook. We need it. You know what I'm saying? You need it. You need that confidence boost. And I like that tonight. Tonight, Haliburton looked like he was having a good time. Every other time I watched this team play this year, like Miles and Haliburton were like, patting each other on the head and shit like that. Like, they looked like they had fun tonight. And I know that, like, we're playing the Wizards. They're the worst team in the league. It's not anything to call home about, right? It's not a win that we should be, like, banking our fucking chips on. But it was nice to see them win a game and, like, look like they're having fun. It didn't look like they were out there just playing another fucking basketball game. And if I'm being honest, I feel like this kind of saved Rick Carlisle's coaching job, because after the past couple losses, I was like, bro, if we lose to the worst team in the league and we, like, God forbid it's a fucking blowout, Rick Carlisle could, is going to have to learn, like, I don't know, how to make hamburgers at McDonald's or some shit. So I'm glad we get to keep Rick Carlisle around, but it's just the idea there's still things about his coaching that I do not like. One thing I do love about this, now, I don't know if it's just because Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard are injured, but even when Aaron Nesmith was playing, you see Rick going to Ben Mathurin in the end of these games. And that was the same thing tonight. Like Quentin Jackson was in the game. Quentin Jackson didn't have a good night, but he didn't even score any points. But it's just the idea, like, once we got down to that 5-minute mark, Haliburton came back in the game, Siakam came back in the game at like the 6-minute mark, and then at the 5-minute mark, Mathurin came back in the game. And I love the idea that Rick, because for a long time, right, the thing has always been Ben Mathurin's been in Rick's doghouse, there's this thing, Rick doesn't like Ben, yada, yada, yada. I've heard this for the past year and a half, 2 years. And it's nice to see that Rick is trusting Ben now. Like, Rick legitimately trusts Ben Mathurin to close games now. And I don't think, like, you guys realize how big of a deal that is, right? Like, because for a long time, it was like, we need Ben. The game's closing. We need Ben. We need Ben. It's always been this, right? Like, it's always been, we need Ben Mathurin. And finally, Rick has made that change where it's like, you know what? Fuck it. End of game, Mathurin's going in. And I love that because Mathurin loves those moments. We know he loves those moments. He's a guy who wants the ball in his hands when the game is closing, right? Or the game's coming to an end, or, if it's a close game. Ben loves those moments. So the idea that Rick is like saying, yeah, you know what? We're going to let you do this from now on. I like that. I love that for Ben because I think Ben is one of those dudes that I think he thrives in those moments. So I love that. Real quick, want to give a shout out to Alex Sarr because he had a 17 and 14 tonight, and he's been getting a lot of shit, especially in Summer League. But Alex Sarr was not the problem tonight for the Wizards. Alex Sarr played very fucking well. So I'm just going to throw that in there real quick because Alex Sarr looked very good. Miles had a double-double. You know what? Miles doesn't have to score 20 points a night for me to be happy with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what he gave for me tonight, 10 and 10, solid. I'm happy with that. That's all I asked for. That's all I ever asked for out of Miles Turner is get me a fucking double-double. Just get me 10 points and more than 6 fucking rebounds or 7 rebounds, and I'm happy with it. Okay? I got that tonight, so I'm happy with Miles. Another thing I want to talk about in this is also the idea that Siakam's three-point shot is, it's legit, folks. I'm going to call it, I know he only made 2 3-point shots tonight, but Siakam's a guy you can't fucking leave open anymore. I'm starting to realize that. I understand Siakam's, I don't know what Siakam's volume is. It's not anywhere near 5 or 6 3-pointers a game, but it's respectable. Okay, it's respectable. The team is moving to 7 and 10, and tonight they actually finally looked like the old Indiana Pacers. Right now, Pascal Siakam is shooting 44% from 3, almost 45% from 3 on 4.5 3-pointers a game. That's very, very good. So I'm definitely happy with tonight's performance. This was a game that I was expecting them to, I was expecting them to win it, but the problem is because it's the Pacers, it's like you never know if they're just going to take a night off, oh, yeah, we're playing the worst team in the league, what the fuck, hey, what's the worst that could happen? We lose, and then they actually do fucking lose. So I like this. I feel like it was a confidence builder for the team. Haliburton needed this night, I think, more than anybody. Haliburton came out and had 14 points in the third, and I was like, yeah, I'm like, he's back. He made, I think he had 5, he shot 5 of 11 from the 3 tonight, which is good. The problem is in the fourth quarter when they stopped giving him open shots or giving him space, he started deferring, and then when they realize Haliburton's making threes and they step out on him on the perimeter to defend that 3, that's when you need to attack, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's when you need to go get yours at the basket. One of the guys I work with is a Houston Rockets fan, and he brought up a really good point to me. And I've been saying it for a while now, too, that Haliburton needs to develop a floater because there was a 2 or 3 year stretch. Hold on. Press conference is starting. But there was a 2 or 3 year stretch where James Harden just dominated the fucking league with step-back three-pointers, right? And then teams started taking that away from him, right? Teams came out and were like, okay, we're just going to, lock you down on the three-point line. Then James Harden was like, okay, I'm just going to develop this little float game and go to the basket and just draw fouls all game, right? And I understand that the Pacers are not asking Tyrese Haliburton to do that, but if you can fucking do it, do it. You know what I'm saying? There's I feel and Pacers fans bring this up all the time. It's not something I'm saying. It's something everybody's saying. Tyrese Haliburton gives up way too many open layups. Okay? There's times he will get a wide open look at the rim, and he will pass it up for a three-point shot. And while I get he's just being a good teammate, he's trying to get everybody involved, that's his job, that's what the team wants him to do. Bro, if you got that open layup and nobody's contesting you, or you got that little float game, please take the fucking layup. The team would rather you make that layup than, come out here and take, risk taking a contested three, or, you know, possibly committing a turnover or something like that, right? Like, that's the thing, is like, that's one of the main reasons I don't like it, is because it's kind of reckless, right? Like, I understand he knows the playbook, he knows where guys are supposed to be on the court, but the problem is, like, you risk a turnover every time you give up one of those wide open layups. And towards the end of this game tonight, there was at least four drives where Tyrese Haliburton, I'm like, he could make this layup, and instead of making this layup, he passes it out for a three, and then they got to pass it around and try to find another open three. Now, it worked in a lot of instances, but going forward in the future, like, I want Haliburton to, like, take those layups. You know, if you can give me 30 and 10, give me 30 and 10. Don't give me 21 and 10 just because you want to be a good teammate. You are the guy you are the super max player on this team, okay? You're getting paid $250 million. You're getting $42 million this year, okay? You reserve the right to take shots when you want to take shots. You and Siakam both. And if you have open shots and you're just passing them up to other players for open threes, I'm sorry, but you know what? Jarris Walker and Bennett Mathurin, they're still young bloods to the game, you know what I'm saying? They're still kind of relatively new. I don't think their feelings are going to be hurt if the star player of the team just starts taking open layups when he gets them. That's all. So that's the only gripe I have about tonight. I'm so, like, Haliburton actually looked happy tonight, man. Like, I like the end of the third, I think it was the end of the third, or he made a three-pointer, and they called a timeout right after he made it. It was after he made, like, his fifth three-pointer. He walked back to the bench and was, like, fucking screaming in, like, in happiness, and I was like, yeah. Like, this was the confidence game that Haliburton needed. Like I said, I know we're beating up on a shitty team, but, like, sometimes, you know, like, there's a reason in college football that Alabama every year plays, like, some fucking Christian school that has no talent anywhere near to what Alabama has, and they beat the piss out of them, like, 60-0 or 50-0. It's because it's there to boost team confidence. Right? Like, that's why football teams do it. That's why in the preseason of college football, you see all these, like, Division I teams playing these Division III schools or Division II schools that have no business being on the field with them. It's because you need that confidence boost, dog. Like, you need, like, it builds team morale. Like, you know, when you mollywop a team 60-0, okay? Like, it makes you feel good. Tonight, this is what this team needed. They needed to schmeckledork somebody by, I don't know, however many points. I didn't know what the final score is, but we fucking won, and they needed this, right? This was a good confidence builder for this team, especially with us being on a home stretch here. I think the next 4 games are all at home, or after tonight in the next 3. I don't know. I have to look at the schedule, but I do know we're on a home stint here going into Thanksgiving, and we need it. We needed it. You know, Haliburton is playing better at home than he is at away, but this was one of those wins where I'm like, yeah, like, This looks like Haliburton needed this more than anybody. Like, I know we needed the win. Carlisle needed the win. And part of me even thinks as well, I think Haliburton, knew, like, Carlisle needed this win too. Because I can't begin to describe what would have happened to Rick Carlisle had we not won this game. Like, had we lost, like, it would have been one thing to lose the game, all right? And if it was close, but to, like, lose the game and lose by, like, 10 or 15 points would have been fucking bad. Like, if we would have had one of those nights where the threes just not falling, we're not playing defense, we're committing 17 turnovers in a game, if it would have been one of those games, right, Carlisle, I hate to say it, but Carlisle probably would have lost his job. All right, that was, like, we were 6-10 to go to 6-11 against the worst team in the league. Like, and there's been people already calling for his job. Like, I would have been like, yeah, like this game probably would have been the one. So, I'm glad that we managed to pull this win out. It was good. It felt good. It was fun to watch. I'm glad Haliburton appears to be back. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And, you know, I like that we're on a home stretch here. So, Moses Brown is up for press conference right now. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.